Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tonight I will be refuting Edward's claim that living on campus is significantly beneficial to college students. And some of his secondary claims are that living on campus eases the students to become part of a diverse community, and living on campus makes college life easier is his second point. And his third point is living on campus is commonly associated with student persistence and success. In Edward's first claim, he states that living on campus eases the students to become part of a diverse community. In his first supporting grounds, he says that it allows an easier access to college life that is available, but he fails to provide sufficient evidence like the difference of engagement in fraternities and sororities or clubs by on and off-campus residents. In his next support, he makes a connection to the main claim based on insufficient grounds that being part of a diverse community is beneficial to college students. For instance, some students might feel that living on campus is too overwhelming and living in their own house allows them to have space that separates them from the school. The advocate also engages in bifurcation, where he states that it is cost-effective to live on campus because scholarships and grants are available, and most receive them. He fails to provide evidence of the scholarship availability and how it offsets the cost, and neglects the fact that some families might find living off campus more cost-effective because they do not receive aid due to their income bracket. In Edward's second claim, he states that living on campus makes college life easier. This claim is slightly weaker than the others because he uses a value claim in stating it is easier and worth it in his argument. In his first piece of evidence, he states that on-campus residents don't need to go through traffic to get to class. The evidence he uses to support this is weak and altered. He provides a statistic from the U.S. Census Bureau saying that the average American commute time is 26 minutes, which he doubles to account for a round trip. Next, he adds the time it takes to park in his argument, a statistic not taken from the Census Bureau, and adds this onto the data. In this claim, he did not show evidence about the time it takes to park. Instead, he makes his own data and calls it the total commute time about an hour. Additionally, through review of the advocate's bibliography, it is apparent that he did not include a citation from the Census Bureau. In his second piece of evidence, he says that the building distances, classrooms are 5 minutes away from the residence halls. He fails to provide any evidence on the building distances or correlation to success, and generalizes that the halls are 5 minutes away on all campuses and does not provide examples here. In his third piece of evidence, he says that healthy food is provided by the school, but does not provide any information on the availability of on-campus food, like the fact that a lot of options are not open during the weekend or information about the food's nutrition. In his third claim, he makes a strong declaration that living on campus is commonly associated with student persistence and success, but doesn't provide a warrant linking this claim to the main claim that is significantly beneficial to college students. He provides minimal evidence on this claim, and in the first piece of evidence, he makes a generalization that closer access to faculty members is associated with student persistence and success. He fails to provide a strong evidence of this success, like a comparison of grade point averages or degree completion times, in relation to on-campus residents and commuters. His next support of this claim is that students who live on campus have closer access to the academic tools the university provides. As the advocate did earlier, he makes a generalization here and doesn't provide any evidence on how this is associated with success. In conclusion, I believe that Edward's speech provides many important points about the benefit of living on campus, but because of his lack of evidence and generalizations, his argument is not sufficient enough to convince me that on-campus life is beneficial to college students.
Right, the structural stuff is fine at the beginning. On the first point, you signpost as you're getting to that, and basically you're challenging a lack of evidence on that, on the supposed advantages. I think that's a reasonable claim to make, that the information that the advocate provided is insubstantial, that you can't really reach the conclusion based on what he's provided. You also challenge a premise that's being presented about how important involvement is into academic success. I think that there's probably a passing belief, or most people are going to accept that as a given. They'll see that as a warrant in and of itself. I think if there's a reason to doubt it, it would be helpful if you had a counterclaim on that particular point. On the cost issue, when you discuss the notion that he's got this false dilemma that's going on here, because a lot of students, they may not be able to be eligible for the benefits because of their income, their family income, that sort of thing. I thought that was a reasonable challenge. It would be really helpful if you had some data, for example, about what percentage of students at Cal Poly had this kind of assistance, and use that as an illustration of the point that you're talking about, where otherwise it's all got to come out of the pocket of the family. They don't have this kind of assistance, and therefore it really is a more practical alternative for them. On the second point, again, it's really a value claim that you're talking about here, and I understand the idea that says that this is a value claim is a little bit different, although there are a couple of factual issues there. Does the amount of travel time influence success in school? I think there's a good challenge on this particular point about whether it affects success in school. I think you spend too much time talking about how he calculated what the travel time was and what the parking time was, and I don't really think that matters all that much. And the notion that, he doesn't prove that it's a 5-minute walk from the dorm to the building. I'm sorry, is there anybody here who has a walk that's a little bit longer than 5 minutes there? I think that's counterintuitive to the audience that you're talking to. I think that's a little bit problematic. I think the better argument is, where's the proof that anybody who has to walk is more inclined to go to class, they're going to be more engaged in what they're doing, that they have more time to study as a consequence? Did the advocate offer any proof on those points? And that's where you ought to be pressing those things, as opposed to the other minor issues. I think you get a little sidetracked on those sorts of things. I was a little bit confused because if student success is not linked to something being a benefit to the student, I don't understand what would be. That's you're kind of challenging this premise that success isn't really a demonstration of a benefit. I didn't understand that point at all. That seems to me to be a given. The better argument is that it's not documented that there is any success as a consequence of that. That's where I think your argument is. All right, thank you.